Hello, my name is Dr. Karl Meneghella, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Education is a Garden, Dig It. In this episode today, I'm very honoured to be able to introduce Dr. Kumudu Ekanayaka. She's a visiting lecturer at Colombo University in the Education Faculty, as well as at Ruhuna University in the Department of Abnormal Psychology. Dr. Kumudu, a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet
How are
you
you today?
too. Yeah, I'm great.
Very good, very good. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background and your area of study?
Okay, yes. I'm Dr. Kumudu Ekanayaka. I've been working as a consultant psychotherapist, senior lecturer and trainer, personal development, positive attitudes trainer. I think I have been working with WHO and legal organizations.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Very good. So today we're talking about psychotherapy.
Yes.
I suppose the first thing we need to define is the actual psychotherapy, how it's defined in psychology, and how it contributes to our mental health and personal well-being. So if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Psychotherapy, yes. Every subject give huge knowledge around the world. Psychotherapy give us knowledge about ourselves, human emotions, human cognitions, human behavior, and all psychotherapy is little bit different for psychologists. Psychotherapist intention is a healing intention. Psychotherapist have to continue professional relationship with not patient, with client and therapist, with healing purpose. That is the healing intervention is a more focus area in with psychotherapist. Psychotherapist different from that.
So the psychotherapist is actually looking at helping the client or the patient understand more about themselves, maybe more about their triggers or more about why they're doing things. Is that?
Of course,
Very
Dr.
good.
Kar, you're very correct. And positive changes, that both our purpose of the positive changes, behavior changes. In currently we have to work with lot of new generation, youth people. So most of the time they are suffering with addiction. These are the recent issues. So the psychotherapist's role is that is not advice. Okay, that is we are provide lot of therapeutic techniques to as a train their brain. We have to continuously 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, depend on his issue.
Yes.
It's depend on his issue. Continuously, you have to train them with until overcome their issues. That is psychotherapist role. So we provide lot of techniques, therapeutic techniques to overcome their addiction issues, behavioral issues, not severe depression, moderate depression, anxiety. There are so many issues.
Could we go back to the notion of addiction? I think that's very important. We're not just talking about drug addiction, we're talking about behavioural addiction, I presume. So it could be whether it's food or whether it's distractions like Facebook, for example, addictions, I think things which impinge on our normal day-to-day life. Is that sort of where we're talking?
Yes, that is not addiction. That is habitual system.
Okay. So there's a difference.
Habitual system become addiction. Addiction with he or she can't. It's disturbing her life and it's disturbing others' life. It's addiction definitely it's collapse his own life. That is we call addiction. He can't manage himself. He can't control himself. He knows this is not a good, but he can't control.
Can't help it. Yep.
Yeah. So habit easily come to the addiction. So
it's actually a progression through.
It's a
that resonates with me.
Yeah.
I know some young kids. I call them children now, but I'm talking about people in their 20s. And to my point of view, it looks like they're addicted, for example, to playing cards. And to the extent where they won't go to sleep, and then they're late for work, and then that impacts on their work because they find they're addicted to it. So how can therapy help with that sort of thing, like an addiction?
Of course, that is easy. We call behavioral training. We have to give her behavioral training with professional trained therapists, not counseling. Counseling always focus on discussion, free association,
Yes.
discussion. That's
Yeah.
it. Therapists have to work with what we call repetitive exercise. We have to give exercise. We have to
So
reduce that
retraining the
opportunity.
brain?
Yeah, exercise for brain. We call neuroplasticity. We are when we every time, every person we can change, especially youth and children under 30 years old, because after 30 years
I see
old,
you have the same idea of youth.
yeah, after 30, it's become established personality.
Yes.
So we can actually change children, youth. Before 25 years old, we have to do something. That is the role of psychotherapist. Yeah, so we can change it. Yeah.
So speaking about the role, for those people out there who are interested maybe in pursuing psychotherapy as a career option, what are the opportunities for a trained psychotherapist?
First, we see what are the opportunities in psychotherapists or psychologists. What are the opportunities, career opportunities?
Yes.
Shall we? In Sri Lanka, still this is developing area. Sri Lanka actually these days now there are huge progress in this field. We have a little long progress, of course. So, but there's some ethical body. Issues with ethical body. What is ethical body is still we are developing our professional standard or these kind of career opportunity. Psychotherapists, counselors, psychologists in Sri Lanka still they are trying to find where's the opportunity for work. So there are in socially high demand. There are so many issues in society, but there are in 1 year psychology student pass out, 1,000 of psychological student pass out, but there are no still in Sri Lanka there are no proper standard place to work them. That is, but in hospitals, in universities, in school, some therapists doing private practice. There are, but very limited area. So that is the huge challenges in Sri Lanka. Psychotherapists and counselors and psychologists still it's developing area in Sri Lanka. Could you understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so we look at things like creative psychotherapy, so things like art, music, movement, drama. How can they benefit us in supporting our mental health healing?
That is my favorite area.
Oh, okay. Very
Special
good.
area.
All right.
Yes, that is psychotherapy. Especially when we work with youth, we think about hyperactive student, hyperactive child.
I have experience with that.
Yeah. So think we can't tell him or her to do a meditation, close your eyes and continue your mindfulness, try to develop. We can't, it's useless. But there are so many tools in creative psychotherapy. Creative psychotherapy have a lot of active meditation techniques. We play with sand trays, we play with spectrogram. That is also mindfulness. Breathing creatively. That is not just close your eyes and breathe. It's very difficult to do that with hyperactive. So breathing like a balloon, breathing like birds, breathing like while you are moving, while you are dancing. There's a part of creative psychotherapy. Then other side there are drum therapy, art therapy, role play, storytelling. There are so many techniques and tools we can use to overcome their problem.
I like the way you gave examples of drums, for example. Many years ago, maybe 40 years ago, I was, as a group of friends, just socially, on a Friday, we'd do drumming for mental health. And it was a great experience because you could let go. You could let go of all your inhibitions or frustrations. And I think the drums are an incredible vehicle for that, because when you're drumming, it's a tactile, and your energy.
Yeah.
So I think some of these things like the art or breathing, and I think you gave a beautiful example like breathing like a balloon or breathing like a bird. I think for the younger children in particular, this gives them a vision that can help complement the act they can internalize. But you can't say to a young child who's distracted, do yoga, because they're distracted by definition.
Yeah.
Could you give some other examples in some of the art? So we had breathing, for example. What about, for example, in art itself? I know you said sand tray.
Yeah,
other sorts of things that we can use?
Most of the time we are using sand tray for explore their self. Explore their self. Most of the time we use sand tray art. Then just art, like there is, we're going to mirror techniques. When I do something with sand tray, he or she has to mirror me.
Oh,
Mirror
okay.
me, that is
Yes.
like called imitation.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Through imitation, when I put a circle like this, why sand? Sand is very intuitive. The sand is stimulation of a small cells.
Yes, you have the very fine grains. Yes,
Yeah,
so
that is it's connected with our brain's nervous system, brain nervous as neurotransmitters, everything. So that's why we are giving sand train. She or he, especially hyperactive children, lack of imitation, that we lack of mirror neurons. That's why that's a purpose. Hyperactive children, conduct disorder, behavioral issues, youth of behavioral issues. That is my PhD area is a conduct disorder. That is their lack of. That is we call, according to the fMR scan, lack of mirror neurons. That's why they don't have much enough sense about others. They don't have much enough sense about their self. Lack of empathy. It's like that. So according to the imitate and mirroring techniques, we always guide them to follow your therapist. Just drawing, pass the ball, selected proper colors. There are so many activities we have, but the first step is that we guide them to follow us.
Yes,
they are
yes.
very interesting to follow. When we do the drum, when we go 1, 2, you have to continue 1, 2.
Yes, and
that's
keeping
a
the
very
beat and the
simple
rhythm.
process.
Yes.
Very simple process. Some may think, what is this? What is this? Very simple. But with that simple process, we can stimulate their mirror neurons. After that, we are giving the conflict activities. Yeah, there is a step-by-step process. 6 months, 1 year, maybe continuously. We have to work with it.
So please explain if I'm correct on this trail. So by the mirroring behaviour, you said empathy before. So would that then translate to people being more aware of, say, for example, how to behave in different situations?
Yes.
So if I go to a restaurant, for example, say we're at dinner, for example, this is our space, and if I have empathy, I won't invade the space of the next table. So I'll be talking softer, so I don't invade their area. I'll be more aware of the people around me, so the behaviour expectations so that would help with that. Doing all these very very small mirroring activities when they're younger is going to give them greater empathy.
Yeah, that means their lack of senses about others.
Yes.
Lack of sense about their behaviour. That is the lack of senses being, it's linked with empathy, lack of empathy. If someone has lack of senses, that is lack of empathy about others. Yes. So, but we can train them with therapeutic process, with action plan.
So there's hope.
Yeah, action plan. Without action plan, most of the people, most of the adults don't do this, don't do that, you do this. No, that is useless. Don't do this and do this means both are useless. So therapeutic process is very important.
It reminds me of the SMART goals, where they have, like you said, action plans. So having a specific goal and having it measurable. So we're going to do an action plan over, for example, 6 months or whatever it's going to be. Something achievable, realistic, and that sense of time. I think it's very important.
Yeah.
So the therapist, he or she, how do they gauge what's needed? You know, like a client comes in, for example. So let's say you're either at the university or in your practice. A client comes in. How do you gauge or measure what they need?
Yes, most of the time in Sri Lanka, adult parents send us, refers us, not come by themselves.
Yes. And I suppose some of them are referred, they come happily and some come reluctantly.
Yeah, it's not. But most of adults come there, say, but most of the time, a hyperactive student or conduct disorder student, most of the time we are going to work with rehabilitation centers. That's the way. And most of the parents refers us to take us that the kind of problematic children. So we don't want to identify. But every psychotherapist has to work with psychiatric. Because psychotherapist has not power or not allowed to diagnose.
Yes.
Yeah, so psychiatric and psychotherapy both together,
With the psychiatrist?
work together.
Yes.
With that several particular issues. That's the thing. Yeah.
With psychotherapy, I understand that you can't do a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Also, the psychotherapist doesn't prescribe medicines, do they?
Yes, of course.
Or
With medicine. Sometimes our psychotherapists, after diagnosis this severe hyperactive attention deficit, they are giving some medicine. Definitely, we have to follow that. But we believe with medicine, only medicine, they can't tolerate themselves forever. Okay, so when we think about depression, with only medicine, they can't tolerate for a long time.
Yes.
So that's why always we're trying to give them train brain chemicals. Through training, we are through our activities we train naturally balance that neurotransmitters than medicine. So both are same purpose, but medicine can support to us.
Yes. So you're not looking at medicine as the complete solution. You're looking at also doing then that neurological rebalancing.
Rebalancing can support, but it's not continuously. We are not continuously medicine. We are not. We are not telling to take medicine continuously for a life, but he or she have to control some ability to control his or her self. That is the psychotherapist's role. Is give some skills, give some potential to balance his self through brain practice. Through brain practice. Yeah?
I like the way you said you're giving them skills, because to me medicine is. In the West, unfortunately, there's a reliance on medicine. You know, so someone has ADHD, or for example, give them medicine. But that's not going to help them to get to the root of the problem of what is causing this the chemical imbalance in their own body. And I think that giving them skills is a much more realistic long-term intervention.
Of course, and that is huge challenge to therapists also. We have to deeply work with that patient. Patiently.
Yes.
And deeply we have to work with our client.
So what are the biggest challenges or the gaps, for example, in the field of psychology or psychotherapy today in Sri Lanka?
Yes. Huge gap is demand is very high, society demand very high, lack of professionals, training therapists.
So there's definitely career opportunity.
And we have outside there are so many opportunities. Everyone asks, we need help, but from where they ask, proper place.
Yes.
And psychotherapists also have there's a lack of limited professionals because of still in Sri Lanka developing ethical body in this field and license issues Who gives license? No license system in Sri Lanka.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Still developing. So government has to definitely give huge focus on this area.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is.
But you want to make sure
And,
that...
other huge challenges. Still we are developing. Still we are improving. We don't have proper research culture. Research culture means action research.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
so limited action research. So there are no proper international platform to publish their research. No encouragement. Like, not, I'm not telling no, but very
Yes,
limited,
yes.
limited research platform. We have to increase that area too. And social stigma, they are still. If students or they have their parents or students still have a little bit stigma about take psychological support.
Yes, yes.
They are they're being judged. That's like that. So these kind of lack of area, research, professional background is issue, and yes, that's area.
Is there an association or a society of psychotherapists in Sri Lanka?
There are several associations here, counseling association, psychotherapist association. They are still developing private section, not a proper government
Yes.
framework.
Yeah. I think that's probably the next step then for the industry is to get the associations possibly together, and as a voice to government, saying, we need to have guidelines, we need to have registration, for example, licenses, whether it's a license or a registration, but also a way of making sure that the industry, that the psychotherapists meet certain standards.
Of course.
And the other thing is changing public perception, because I think the public don't mind when they go to a coach, for example, whether it's a sporting coach or a personal coach or a professional coach. And I think the psychotherapist is another coach. They're another person who's helping modify behaviours or modifying or developing skills, for example. And I think we need to change public perception.
Of course, yeah.
The last question I have for you today is why is psychological knowledge and psychotherapy so important for personal growth, for our emotional intelligence and our self-awareness?
Yeah. Psychotherapy, psychology, based on personal growth, well-being, overall well-being. So, every person always look around the world, others' issues, others' behavior, but lack of knowledge about herself, himself. There are so many people suffering from lot of very moderate disorder. That is not a disorders, issues, behavioral issues, addiction issues, isolation, family problems, a huge problem. Why that? Because there's no proper skill to see their self. Psychology is a personal development, personal well-being. How to keep mindfulness, your thoughts pattern, how to change your thoughts pattern, and it's linked to your emotions, it's linked to your behavior, it's linked to your biological system. These are knowledge, and these are practical knowledge. So psychology is increase person's overall well-being. Relationship issues, how we continue good healthy relationship. So many issues, especially in new generation, not only the new, in family setup also.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so.
I think the other thing too is when you're talking about young adults, and let's say 25, 26, 27, some of those are becoming parents, and I think the better equipped they are in their own self-awareness, in their own emotional intelligence, the better parents they're going to be as well. So I think that's a very valuable experience. Dr. Ekanayaka, first of all, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karl.
And I hope that out there you've also had some insights into psychotherapy, some of the benefits as far as your own emotional intelligence, your own self-awareness. And I think we've helped to lessen the stigma of seeking help when we need it. And for those of you who are thinking of a career in psychotherapy, by the sounds there's a huge demand for competent psychotherapists. So thank you for joining us on Education is a Garden Dig It. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much.